See if we can do something to fix that. And are we ready to go in there?
Yep.
So it is 6 o'clock and I will call this special school board meeting of Independent School District 882 to order. We can all stand for the pledge led by those in the boardroom.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Now I can call for an approval of the agenda.
So moved. This is Melissa. Second. This is Candy.
Motion made by Melissa, seconded by Candy. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Jennifer? Aye. Motion passes 6-0. And we have an update with Barb Wilson to start us off.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I want to provide a quick update to the general school community at the outset of this meeting regarding recent guidance from the Minnesota Department of Education. Per the Minnesota School Board Association, MDE has made clear that the mask mandate policy, which remains in place during the school day through the end of the school year, no longer applies to board meetings. School board meetings can now be conducted in person without masks unless a board specifically enacts a policy to reinstate them specifically for meetings. As the board knows, we will further address the school mask policy later in tonight's evening, but I wanted to provide this update. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. I do not have any citizens.
Or is this just
It's
done
just
deal?
information. If we were going to change the recommendation and require masks at board meetings, we would need a vote.
Take this off, is what we're saying.
Yes, you can.
I think I'd ever see that day.
I can see everyone's face.
Okay. And I don't have any citizens' comments for the night, so we can move on to the consent agenda.
Here, Jennifer.
Board members, you would have received the packet. I'm sorry, what?
Ms.
Jennifer,
Yes?
there is a member of the audience that does, but I do believe that we have to, by policy, they have to be submitted beforehand. I don't know, so I'm just asking for clarification.
Right. We have a process for school board comments or citizens' comments. They would, I think it's Clay has a form that they fill out for information, and then we get in touch with them before the meeting.
Came out on Thursday with the state covered, and all the other things that were released with this, the mask stuff. I didn't have time to get into that. Obviously, you guys need to do it by Friday, but when this stuff came right on the heels, I guess I was looking for some exception here for this. I'd like to make some comment on it.
Is there a mechanism by which we can create an exception for this public member?
No, I really think,
Not according to our policy, there
right.
isn't.
And the recommendations from MSBA is that we would follow the process, and without Superintendent Olson being present, I would just recommend that please submit your comments in writing to Mr. Sawatzke. You can send them to myself, Barb Wilson, at the school district, or Mr. Olson. And we will be meeting again in June if it's still a comment that you'd like to make at
Well,
that
it
point.
says, like I said, is all this stuff has come up really quick when it was called.
Right.
So that's called for the remaining school year, and I have two kids that are in school. That's about at least the situation, especially with this mask thing, that's really what we're related to. So that's why I thought it would.
We would be happy to take your conversation privately at the end of the meeting if you're going to stay. Thank you. All right. Madam Chair, we're ready to move
Okay.
on.
With the consent agenda, we would have all received the packets of information. If there's anything that needs discussion, now would be the time. Otherwise, I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. This is Melissa.
Second, Candy.
Motion made by Melissa, seconded by Candy to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor by roll call. Kathy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Jennifer? Aye. Motion passes 6-0. And now we move on to collaborative connections, starting with our acceptance of gifts with Barb Wilson.
Yes, I would like to acknowledge 2 gifts coming into the district. And we also have Sarah Welk joining us virtually, along with Karen Chatterton, and I will let Sarah talk after we introduce the gifts. So we would like to acknowledge a $20,000 donation from Centricare Foundation, and this is for Peace Guide programming at Little Mountain and Pinewood Elementaries. We have an additional $10,000 donation from the Centricare Foundation for nature-based programming and planning. And to tell you more about these special donations, we have Sarah Welk.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. As Barb had shared, Karen Chatterton is with us.
Sarah,
Point of
we're having a
personal
hard time
privilege.
hearing
Can
you.
Turn that
If
up.
you-
Oh. Can
Sorry,
you
I
hear me
didn't
now?
mean to interrupt you, but I want to be able to hear what you're saying.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
No.
It's still really muffled.
Oh, weird.
I can hear you clear on here, so it's got to be something in the boardroom.
Yeah, I can hear you, Jennifer, clear as a bell.
We have Mr. Sawatzke checking into it. So just
Okay.
give us a moment, see
Sure.
if there's anything he can do.
Sarah, can you try again?
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, much better.
Much
Oh,
better.
great.
Thanks for
All
your
right.
patience.
Gavin, would you turn up Jennifer as well? Can you turn her up a little bit?
This probably will.
Thanks, Gavin.
All right, Ms. Welk, please continue.
All right. Well, like I said, just thank you guys for the time tonight. And as Barb had mentioned, Karen Chatterton is the development officer for the Centricare Foundation and Bounce Back program. And so she's here to represent Centricare Foundation. And as Barb had shared, I had worked with Gabe Hackett and Clay Norman to be able to write these grants through the Centricare Foundation. The $20,000 is in partnership with the Peacemakers Minnesota and working with Dan McNeil. You guys may have known Peacemakers. It's been a partnership that we've had since 2008 with Little Mountain, Pinewood, and the middle school. And they have a program called Peace Guides, and it is offering 2 part-time positions. So it'd be 1 position at Little Mountain, 1 part-time position at Pinewood. And what that position would do is be able to help out at recess time and also to be able to help teach students conflict resolution, talk about bullying, social skills, things of that nature. So to help be able to help students at a younger age to learn some of those skills to be able to keep the peace. And so, like I said, working with Clay and Gabe and working towards writing that grant. And we were so fortunate to be able to work with Centricare and that we were awarded this grant. to have this in our elementary buildings. And I also want to acknowledge that we have many community members and also other businesses in the community that have donated towards this cause. And one of the questions that people asked was, how much does it cost to have a peace guide in our elementary? And it's $17,000 per position. And so with CentraCare awarding us this grant for $20,000 was obviously a huge push to be able to make this programming happen. And so we're very, very fortunate and very excited for this opportunity through the CentraCare Foundation. The CentraCare Foundation also was awarding us with $10,000 for the nature-based school in programming. We are going to be able to use that for time for training for teachers, curriculum writing, being able to bring in presenters such as the Raptor Center, the Silent Run Dog sledding, and rental fees. And so again, just being able to expand the programming that we will be able to have at the nature-based school. Again, with the CentraCare Foundation partnership, giving us $10,000 is huge for us. So we're very, very fortunate. So, Karen, would you have anything to add to that? And as you guys know, part of my position is also funded through the CentraCare Foundation in the Bounce Back program. So I know that this will continue, those bounce back principles being taught in these programs as well. So that's a huge collaboration between all of these organizations. So,
are you able to hear me, Sarah, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for letting me come and be a part of your meeting this evening. Yes, we are thrilled that we have another opportunity to collaborate with community dollars to make change. And so, as you all know, the Bounce Back Project is just such a great resiliency work that we already collaborate with you on. And we really felt that our Mission Excellence Fund, of which we have applications for twice a year, really fit supplemental work in that Bounce Back Project work. And so both of these programs are going to be really an extension of what Sarah and the Bounce Back Project work that's being done is already happening. And so we're excited about that. And you know, as we continue to partner with and collaborate with community members and their dollars, these are the great things that happen. You know, we're better when we work together. And so we're thrilled that we get to give this money in a place that we know will make a difference for staff, for students, and for families in our communities.
Can we ask questions?
Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to know, with the Peace Guides program, is there a curriculum or a training program that these individuals go through? And then could you just talk about a little bit more about what their role is? Does it extend beyond the recess period? Are they in the classrooms at all? I don't really know much about this program. I'd like to hear just a little bit more.
Sure. Yes, Peacemakers Minnesota, they provide a training that these people will be going through. So they help train, because there are other peace guides in other school districts in the surrounding areas. So there is a training that they do provide. I'm not sure that they would be in a classroom, but I know that they would be able to, like I said, help out at the recess time, but also be able to be a part-time position. So I believe that, you know, Pinewood and Little Mountain would be able to give some guidance on what that would look like.
Is this a structured thing that happens during the recess period, or are they just available and circulating among the kids?
I think it's both. Yep. And I have an additional flyer, Kathy, I could even send to you to give you some further in-depth information about this as well.
Yes, thank you. Would you please do that?
Yep, I can.
Thank you, Sarah and Karen, for being here to share information about these donations. Do we have somebody ready to read the resolution?
Therefore be it resolved by the Monticello School Board number 882 to gratefully accept the following donations. CentraCare, $20,000 to the Peace Guide programming, and CentraCare Foundation, $10,000 to the nature-based programming and planning.
Second, this is Melissa.
Resolution read by Jeff, seconded by Melissa. All those in favor by roll call. Kathy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Jennifer, aye. Resolution passes 6-0. Thank you so much for these donations. Now we move on to our joint powers agreement with Heidi Nistler.
Good evening, everybody. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'm Heidi Nistler. I'm the Director of Special Education for Monticello, but also larger for the Sherburne Northern Right Special Education Cooperative, which is hosted within Monticello. My office is generally just down the hallway from the boardroom. But in addition to serving Monticello, the co-op currently supports 3 other districts, Becker, Big Lake, and St. Michael Albertville, in addition to Monticello. And at the end of this current school year, St. Michael Albertville is going to become independent from the co-op. So going into the 21-22 school year, the co-op is only going to have 3 member districts, Becker, Big Lake, and Monticello. And because the makeup, the composition of our co-op is changing, we had to update the joint powers agreement that binds the districts together to support students with disabilities across our districts. A lot of what the co-op does is provide really specialized services, supports, or programs for students who need higher or more low incidence level of services. But we support overall day-to-day special education operations in all of the buildings within Monticello as well. And so within the board packet, I believe you should have received a copy of the revised joint powers agreement. Is that correct? Did that get included?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So the larger, I think like 8-page joint powers agreement goes through all the details of how the co-op is bound together. The 3 districts within the co-op are bound together. And then there's also a resolution that should have also been attached to your board packet as well. And most of the changes or revisions within the joint powers agreement really just reflect that the co-op is going from 4 member districts to 3 member districts. I've been working with Superintendent Olson and then the superintendents from Big Lake and Becker over the last actually 2 years to prepare for this transition. So we've done a lot of work with budgets and staffing and student programming, but we also were looking carefully at this joint powers agreement. And again, most of the changes just have to do with changing the names of the districts, and that we're going from 4 to 3. One more significant change that I think is important to bring to the attention of the Monticello School Board is that in order to become compliant with state statute, we are having to change the composition of the co-op governing board. Up until this point, for years and years, well predating my time with the co-op, the superintendents have served as the board for the co-op so the board of superintendents is the entity that takes action. That really is my board that I report to, and we meet about every other month is typically how frequently our meetings take place. However, there is state statute that says that for a cooperative, the governing board for that co-op needs to be comprised of members of each governing body's board. So as a result, what we are going to have to implement beginning in July is that 1 member of each district school board is going to represent that district on the co-op governing board. The superintendents are going to have a separate advisory council where they'll still have the opportunity to review a lot of the same information, but one member from the Monticello School Board will be representing Monticello at the co-op governing board. At this time, we haven't determined when meetings are going to take place or even how many we're going to have per year. Every co-op across the state of Minnesota has a really different structure. Some governing boards meet twice per year, some meet every other month, some meet more regularly, closer to every month as well. But generally the time commitment isn't going to be as much as what your current board is, but it would likely be at least a couple extra meetings over the course of the year. And knowing that a lot of the structure of the co-op and some of the action that you may be asked to take may be new or possibly at times confusing, I do plan to just share some more background about the co-op once we get into July and August, just to provide some background of the co-op. But I think that's probably the biggest change, is just the structure of the governing board, and that starting in July, that the governing board will be comprised of 3 board members from the 3 member districts. I think that was the main point that Superintendent Olson and I had wanted to share in regards to the Joint Powers Agreement. And then there is the resolution that summarizes a lot of what I just shared, that within your board packet as well.
Okay, resolution for enactment of revised joint powers agreement related to the Sherburne Northern Right Special Education Cooperative, May 17th, 2021. Whereas individual school district number 0882, Monticello School District Public Schools is a member of the Sherburne Northern Right Special Education Cooperative, and on December 15th, 2014 is a signatory to a joint powers agreement governing the activities of SNWSEC, and whereas effective June 30th, 2021, the St. Michael Albertville School District, a charter member of SNWSEC, is withdrawing from SNWSEC in accordance with the JPA and currently in effect, and whereas due to the withdrawal of the St. Michael Albertville School District from SNWSEC, the remaining members, Becker School District, Big Lake School District, and Monticello School District deem it an appropriate time to review and amend the JPA, including but not limited to changing the structure of the SNWSEC's governing board and designate each member district superintendent as member of a newly established superintendent's advisory board. And whereas the Board of Monticello Public Schools has reviewed the attached amended draft of the JPA submitted for approval by the SNWSEC's Director of Special Education. Now therefore it be resolved that the Board of Monticello School District hereby approves and enacts the amendments to the Joint Powers Agreement and the Sherburne Northern Right Special Education Cooperative. It is certified that this resolution is adopted by the Board of Monticello Public Schools on this 17th day of May 2021.
Second, this is Melissa.
Resolution read by Jeff, seconded by Melissa. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Melissa? Kathy?
Aye.
Jennifer? Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
Now we've got meal prices with Tina Burkholder.
All right, good evening. We're going to talk about meal prices for next year. Even though meals will be free under a different seamless summer option, I'll go into more detail about why we should consider meal prices and kind of the background of what we normally do about this time every year. So there was a federal law enacted when President Obama was in the Oval Office. His wife had the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act created. And with that, we have to look at the nutritional guidelines with meals, but then we also have to look at how this program is paid. And if Gavin, if you want to run through a couple slides, the next one. And so to better illustrate that, so what the federal government provides school districts, if a student qualifies for a free lunch, we would get $3.58. And if a student just had a paid status where they didn't qualify, we would get 40 cents of that meal. So the difference between that gap is $3.18. And so in theory, our meal prices should kind of match that, but we don't. And when you don't, you have to increase your meal prices until you reach that target. So next, this is kind of the history of what has happened, the guidelines of how much you should increase your meal prices, but no more than 10 cents. So we've typically done that. Last year, we only did 5 cents, being that was COVID and trying to understand some hardships that families might have. But going forward, I think we should increase our meals 10 cents. For kids that might want to go through the line again, we would have to charge them full price. So this price would reflect kind of the rising costs with food, transportation, supplies, everything that has happened. Everything is now more expensive. And so on the last slide, we have the prices in place and then the increase for next year. All of them are 10 cents, including breakfast, except for the adult lunch price. We are required to meet the minimum adult price, and this one is under the summer school food service program. That minimum is $4.35, so increase it to that. Otherwise, you have to do some accounting of if they only paid $4.15, where is that other 20 cents coming from? It can't be coming from other people's accounts. It could come from interest income, and we don't have a lot of interest income earning on our investments right now. So there's just that extra accounting to keep track of, but it's just easier if you just go by the minimum, and it's pretty straightforward. So on the last slide, I have the recommended prices for next year. But again, meals are free next year, breakfast and lunch.
Basic. Go ahead, Kathy.
On the preceding slide, if you want to scroll back up one slide, if you said it's a 10-cent increase from 2021 to 21 to 22, wouldn't that be $3.19? Or do you round it off so it's always an even number?
The $3.18 is basically just looking at that federal difference between what we get for a free student and a paid student.
So that's not where the 10 cents applies.
It would just say no more than 10 cents.
Okay.
Good.
Did you have a question, Jeff?
Nope, I'm good. I make a motion to approve the no more than 10-cent lunch increase.
Second, this is Candy.
Motion made by Jeff, seconded by Candy. All those in favor by roll call. Kathy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
And Jennifer, aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Now we have Clay Sawatzke with a face mask policy update.
Good evening. Well, I get to bring one of the more positive suggested motions to the board in recent memory. In light of recent news from the state of Minnesota and the Minnesota Department of Education, we are tonight suggesting a motion to rescind policy 809, the face mask policy, effective on June 5th. This lines up with Minnesota Department of Education's policy, which requires districts to enforce the mask mandate in schools during the school day through the final contract day of the 2021 school year. I would like to make a quick note. I know that as a district office, we've received several questions, and I believe board members have as well, that since Governor Walz' announcement regarding the end of the statewide mask mandate regarding masks in school, and just make note that while Walz repealed the state mandate, the Minnesota Department of Education has, of course, kept in place the policy for districts requiring masks in school through the end of this school year, and that individual school boards or districts do not have the power to change that previously prior to the date allowed by the Minnesota Department of Education, which again is the final contract day of the 2020-21 school year. So that being said, we as a district greatly appreciate all of our families' understanding and patience as we've gone through this, and we'll do our best to finish this school year healthy with high hopes for returning to a much more normal 21-22 school year. So with that said, we bring forth the suggestion to rescind policy 809 effective June 5th.
Is there a resolution or is it just an action item? I move to approve to rescinding the policy 809.
Seconded. This is Kathy.
Motion made by Candy, seconded by Kathy. All those in favor by roll call. Kathy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Jennifer? Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Now we've got Barb Wilson with policy 420.
Yes, tonight we're bringing forth Policy 420 for a first reading. Policy 420 is communicable diseases and accidental exposure. The policy committee has had an opportunity to work on this policy using the MSBA recommended changes as well as reviewing protocols underneath this policy. All board members have had the opportunity to review the policy. Are there any questions at this time regarding policy 420? All right, then we'll be moving this policy forward at the next board meeting for a second reading. I want to thank the policy committee for their work on this policy and for their guidance on our protocols underneath this policy. If board members haven't had a chance to look at the policy in depth, please do so and reach out to me or a policy committee member with any questions you could have. Otherwise, this will be on our next board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. And with that, we've reached the end of the agenda. So if I can get a motion to adjourn.
So moved. This is Melissa.
Second.
Motion made by Melissa, seconded by Jeff. All those in favor by roll call. Jamie?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Candy?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Jennifer? Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Meeting adjourned at 6:32.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.